Well, hello Internet, and welcome to part 7 of my How to Make Video Games tutorial series. In this part of the tutorial, we are going to create our alien and completely finish Space Invaders, so it should be a ton of fun. Like always, all of the images and sounds and code and everything is available in a link underneath the video in the description, and I have a lot to do, so let's get into it. Alright, so here we are. Let's go and check out our game. I didn't do that in the last part, so let's go and play it and see what we got. Alright, so here we go, and we can move around. We can shoot our shield, and we can shoot our aliens, and they make little explosions, and everything looks pretty cool. And also our sounds are coming in there. If I shut up, you'll be able to hear explosion. See? And there's another one. Alright, so we got our aliens. Alright, so that's good. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we are actually going to create all the code to make our aliens move and do a lot more. So let's come in here, click on Scripts and Alien. And we have done nothing with this so far. So you got to think, what sorts of things are our aliens going to do? Well, our aliens are going to move. So if they move, they're going to need a speed. I am going to bring the speed down a little bit because I don't want them rushing down at me. So I'm going to try 10, see what that looks like. I'm going to be moving things. So what does that mean? That means I need to access the rigid body. And there we go. And there we go. All right. So as you can see, you're doing the same sorts of things over and over and over again. It's just about accessing things, moving things, and collisions and things like that. I'm also going to want my alien image, sprite, to change every couple seconds so that it looks like the aliens are moving. So that means I'm going to assign both a starting image as well as an alternative image, and we created that earlier. All right, so we have our starting image, and also we're making these public so we can drag and drop them in to place. So we will also have an alternative image, and we've already created those, of course. What else are we going to do? Well, if I'm going to be changing those images, I can change them how I previously used the SpriteRenderer by grabbing the component, but I am also going to show you another way to grab the SpriteRenderer. So I don't need this to be public, so I'm not going to make it public, and we'll call this SpriteRenderer. Okay, so there that is. And what else are we going to need? Well, I'm going to have a certain amount of time that I want to define before my images change. And I may want to change that in the code to, if it doesn't look good. So I'm going to create another float that is going to define the number of seconds before I change the image. And what I mean is this from starting image to alternative image. So it's all just a matter of just breaking things down into steps. So seconds before sprite change. And I think to myself that half a second probably going to feel good. So that's what I'm going to put in there by default. Also, I'm going to need a reference to my bullets because my aliens are going to be shooting bullets. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do that. Game object and alien bullets. So there we go. Now I have that. What else are we going to need? Well, I would like to stagger the amount of time between the bullet firing because I'm going to have a whole bunch of aliens on the screen all firing bullets. I want to standardize that. Otherwise, we'll just have bullets flying all over the place because they'll all fire at the exact same time. So I'm going to define, this is something I'm definitely going to tweak. So I'm going to define the minimum fire rate time. That sort of sounds like that might be okay. And I'm going to, right now, I'm going to say 1 second. I don't know that that's going to work though. So I'm going to say that the minimum amount of time it's going to wait before firing is 1 second, and then I'm going to throw a randomizer in there and change it. I'm also going to have a max fire rate time, and I'm going to have that be waiting of 3 seconds. And what else are we going to do? I should probably have a base fire time. So we'll also come in there and let's change this to base fire. I want to change this to wait. So the base wait time, and I'm going to change this to 3 seconds. All right. So the aliens are going to be firing at different rates, and that's the reason why I have that. And what else do I need? Well, I need the exploded ship sprite. So whenever my alien shoots a ship and explodes it, well, we're gonna have that. So exploded ship image. Okay, and as far as I know, that's all I need at this moment, and this has to be public, of course, because I'm going to drag and drop it over inside of there. So what am I going to need to initialize inside of here? Rigid body. Always the rigid body is equal to get component, and then this is going to be rigid body 2D, obviously, because that's what it is. And there that goes. All right, what else do I need to initialize for all of my aliens? Well, I'm going to want to define where the aliens are going to do. You know, whenever they come on the screen, how they are going to move. One thing just popped into my head also. What did I say? Anytime you ever think of something, always go and verify that it is okay. So I just thought to myself, hey, did I set it up so that my aliens are going to ignore my shields? So I just thought of that, and there's no point in putting it aside. I'm going to go and verify that. So prefabs, and I have my aliens over here, all of the different aliens. And look at that, I don't have tags on any of them. So what I want to do is I want to go and define tags on every single one of these. So I'm going to go alien, and then the layer is going to be alien. And I'm going to do this for each one, like I said. And there's this, alien. And if you can't see what I'm doing, I'm going like this. I select the individual aliens. And alien, and alien. And I'm going to do that for every single one of these aliens, so I don't have to keep saying that so you get bored. Okay, so all the aliens have been set for the tag of alien and layer of alien, and it's also verify shield. Yes, those are all set. And now what I can do is come up here and go edit, and project settings, and physics 2D. And let's come over here and verify that the aliens are going to ignore the shields. So let's just come down through here. And where is the shield at? Where's our shield? Oh, here it is right here. So there we are. Check that off. Also, that looks good. All right, so now I'm going to jump back over into the code. Yeah, if you ever think of something whenever you're writing code, you could write a note down, but I prefer to just go in and just solve the problem right before it, becomes a problem. So rigid body, and whenever the aliens come on the screen, I'm going to define their velocity, and you go new vector 2, and I want this to move to the right by default, so the right direction is x1, and then it's not going to go, vertically in any way. And that's the way that you move it to the right. Okay. Look at that. Change that to uppercase, rigid body. Okay. What else am I going to need to do? Well, I'm going to need to access the SpriteRenderer component to be able to change that. Told you I was going to show you the other way of using the SpriteRenderer. So to do that, you just go get component and SpriteRenderer and parentheses and semicolon. Okay, so I'll be able to change the images. And then what else do I want to do? Well, I want to go and call for the sprites to cycle. So I'm going to have to create a function called change alien sprite that is going to cycle between the starting image for each alien as well as the alternative. And I'm also going to want there to be a time delay between those sprite changes. So I am going to, in this situation, return an IEnumerator. So let's come down here and let's get rid of update because it's just bugging me. All right, so update's out of there. Okay, so I'm going to go public enumerator, enumerator, and I'm going to name this change alien sprite. It's not going to receive anything. Then we're going to put inside here while true, because this is going to just cycle between these images over and over and over again until the thing is destroyed. Let's change this to uppercase. Then what I'm going to say is I'm going to say if SpriteRenderer sprite is equal to the starting image, well, I want to switch to the alternative image. So I can go SpriteRenderer and instance and sprite and change it to alt image. And that's how easy it is to change it to the alternative image. Pretty easy. Also, while I am in here, I might as well just play a sound. The sound for the alien moving. So I'll just go and call that, play one shot, and I'm going to call the sound manager and instance, and then finally alien buzz 1 is what I call that. Okay, so I got that set. Else, well, in this situation, I know that I already have it set for the alternative image. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it inside of there. And I'm going to change this to starting image. So So there's starting image, and change this to Alien Buzz 2. Then, after all of that is all set, I am going to pause for the number of seconds between sprite changes, which is something that I defined before. And how you do that is you go yield return new and wait 4 seconds, not the number 4, the number of seconds that I define right here, seconds before change, and there we go. All right, so that's all set. Now I can jump up and go and call for this guy to run, and that's going to be right here because it's going to continue to run over and over again, and call for it. But how I'm going to call for it is I'm going to call StartCoroutine. You know what? Let's just get rid of that. And then paste it inside of there. And there we go. And then the final thing I need to initialize whenever I create an alien is I want to define a random fire wait time for my aliens. So this is going to be their very first time they shoot a bullet is going to be randomized. So I'm going to name this base fire wait time plus, and then I want it to be random. So I'm going to say random range, and then I'm going to have my minimum fire rate time that I'm going to pass in there, and the max fire rate time. So it's going to be a random value between those two. Okay, and that's all I need to initialize everything. So now what else do I have to do? Well, whenever my aliens are on the screen, what they're going to do is go from left to right, hit the wall, and then they're going to turn around and go the opposite direction. And then they're also going to go downwards. So what that means is I am going to have to make all that stuff work. So I'm going to have a couple different functions. I'm going to have a function that is going to turn in opposite direction once they hit the wall. I'm also going to have another one that is going to move down after hitting wall. And then of course I'm going to have a function that goes and handles, you know, those guys for us. Okay, so let's create our turn function first. So void turn, and it's going to be sent a direction so that I can keep the logic out of the function. So, and what's going to happen? So I'm going to go vector2 new velocity is going to be equal to a rigid body velocity. Then I'm going to go new velocity, and x is going to be equal to the speed times the direction it wants me to go in. And the direction is either going to be 1, which will be to the right, or -1, which will be to the left. And then I just need to change the rigid body's velocity. So velocity, and there it is going to be equal to our new velocity. And there it is. And that's it. That's how easy it's going to be to turn our aliens when they hit the wall. And then I'm also going to want them to move down a little bit each time. So let's just call this void move down. Sounds like a good name. And it's not going to need anything. It's just going to move down. Okay, so what's going to happen here? I'm going to do the same sort of thing. I'm going to go vector2 position is going to be whatever the current position for our alien is. So we got that guy. And then I am going to go and change my position downwards. And how you do that is just 1 like that, take 1 away from it, and then set our position back for our alien. So transform position is going to be equal to our new position. It's pretty simple. And now I need to call those guys depending upon if I hit the left or the right wall. Well, how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to use void on collision, which is going to be called every single time our alien collides with anything. So there that guy is. And this is going to be collision 2D. I'm going to call it COL just for short. Then I'm going to say if the thing our alien collided with, so we get that by going game object and name is equal to left wall. Well, in that situation, what I want to do is call turn, and I want it to move to the right. So I go 1, and there that does. And then I want to also call move down so that it moves my alien downwards. And I'm going to do a very, very similar thing if it hits the right wall. So I'll just go and copy that. And then I'll just change this to right wall. And then I'm going to be turning, if it hits the right wall, I want it to go to the left. So I'll put -1 inside of there. And that's all I need to change for that. And what else am I going to need to worry about colliding with for my alien? Well, bullets. Okay, so if a spaceship bullet hits my alien, what am I going to do? Well, first off, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste that in there. And I'm going to say if the thing that I collided with has the name of bullet, and remember, I'm thinking of something here, and I'm going to change this to tag though. Well, what am I thinking? Do my bullets have the tag bullet? Let's go check. Prefab, bullet, clicked on it, and yes, it does. You can see right there, tag bullet. All right, so good stuff. So back inside of here again. So I'm going to check if the tag is equal to bullet. What do I want to do? Well, I want to call for my sound manager and have an explosion occur. So I'm going to say play one shot and sound manager and instance and alien dies is the name of that sound that I want to play. And then of course I want to destroy my alien. So I'm going to say destroy and game object. And that's how the aliens are destroyed. Okay, so what else am I going to need to do? Well, I am going to also want to have my aliens fire at random times. So I'm going to come down here and make sure I'm outside of all these other methods, but still inside of the class, and I am. Okay, so let's come down here and let's figure out how we're going to do that. I'm going to call fixed update, and inside of here, I'm going to say if time is greater than the base wait time. So if, enough time has passed for the wait time to be passed, well then in that situation, it's time to start firing some bullets. So I'm going to go base fire wait time. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to cheat and I'm going to use this same code that I initialized. So let's go get it. There it is. Let's go and just steal this because it's fun. All right. There's no use in thinking too much whenever you can just steal from what you already did. All right. There it is. So there I'm going to reuse something that I know is going to work. And then what do I need to do? Well, I need to instantiate a bullet. And those are easy to do. So you just go instantiate and alien bullet. And you're going to have it show up wherever the alien is. And that's position. And then call this little crazy guy and identity. And there we go. Now our aliens are randomly firing bullets that we are generating on the screen. And now what else do we need? Well, we need to handle our on trigger events, which are going to basically be what's going to happen if our aliens come in contact with our players or not. So what I'm going to do is go void on trigger enter. It's going to be pretty hard for the aliens to get down there based off how I have this set up. It's the alien, or the ship's normally going to get shot, or the ship is going to shoot all of the aliens, one or the other. Well, let's put this in here just for the heck of it. Okay, so on trigger enter, if the thing that was collided with has a tag that is equal to player, look at that. Every time you see a tag or anything like that, go verify it exists. All right, so prefabs. Okay, so spaceship, there it is, tag, player. Okay, it exists, we can move on. So if we come in contact with that, we want to go sound manager and play the sound of a ship exploding. Play one shot and sound manager once again, and instance and ship explosion is what we want to use. Okay, so that's going to play that sound, and then what's going to happen? Well, we want to change to the exploded ship image. So I'm going to go get that, get component, and this is, I'm going to get the SpriteRenderer once again, and Sprite is going to be equal to exploded ship image. And then I need to destroy my game object, and then I want to wait to destroy the spaceship. So I'm going to go destroy object and refer to the spaceship object, and I'm going to say I want to wait a half a second also for that. So there you go, guys. That's all the code. Now we go back into Unity and assign all of these things that are up here. Okay, so what else are we going to need to do? A little bit of house cleaning here. Alien bullet, let's select it. You can see that it doesn't have tags or layers. That's a bad thing. I haven't defined them, so I'm going to create one. Let's come in here. Alien bullet. Alien bullet. There that is. Click save. And then I'm also going to have an alien bullet layer. Alien bullet layer. And then I can select my alien bullet and put a tag on it and also a layer on it. So good stuff. Then, of course, I'm going to need to go up here and project settings and physics 2D, and I need to tell the alien bullet to ignore each other. So alien bullet and alien, ignore that. And alien bullet, ignore alien bullets. All right, so all that's set. And the alien bullet looks good. Now I'm going to need to set up all of my aliens. So let's just zoom in here a little bit so that we can see everything. So here are all the aliens and all the components I want to add. So I want to add a rigid body, obviously. So physics 2D right there, and then rigid body. Once again, I'm going to do the same sorts of things. I'm going to let that be dynamic up there for body type. I'm going to have the mass be very tiny. I am going to go and have gravity shut off. I want the continuous collision detection, interpolate the smooth animation, and freeze the rotation there. All that looks good. I am then going to come down, add another component. This is obviously going to be a box collider, so click on box collider. And I'm just going to have everything naturally occur there, not worrying about anything like that. And then I want to go and get my script. So here is the scripts, and here is the alien script. And I'm going to drag this guy down here and drop it right there. And there's going to be a whole bunch of things I'm going to be able to edit here. You don't need to define rigid body. Actually, that should be private, so it's not showing. But whatever, I made a little mistake. Not the end of the world. I can't remember what the starting versus the alternative image is, so I'm going to look that up. I do know what the alien bullet is. You know, that's obviously this prefab. So let's go get the prefab and drag the alien bullet down here. Put it right there. That's good. And then this is all going to be the same exploded ship image. I don't know what that is either. So what I'm going to do is pause right here for a second and write all that stuff out so that I know it. And then I will drag and drop all that stuff in. Okay, so I'm back and go into prefabs again. I'm going to select Alien 2 here. Try to get this on the screen as much as possible. A lot of stuff here. All right, so what do I need? I need my starting image for Alien 2, and that is actually going to be, if I click on sprites, it's going to be the very first, or well, it's the second one, but it's labeled as 1. So I'm going to grab that and drag it down here, and that's going to be my starting image. And then 2 is going to be the next image. So there that is, and everything else is perfectly fine. Except I'm going to need my exploded ship image, and that is the exploding, spaceship, not alien, and that is in 7. So I'm going to grab that and drop that in there. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like when everything is all finalized right there. If you want to pause your screen to make sure everything is okay. Okay, so after I have the alien prefabs all set up, and just to review what they all look like, all of them are exactly the same in regards to the sprite renderer. Of course, the image is different, and all the rigid body information is exactly the same as you see right there. The box collider is all the same for every single alien. And the script part down here is the only thing that changes. So this is for Alien 2, and you can pause if you want to see that. This is for Alien 3, how that is different. And then we can look at Alien 4. And there's that data, and then we can look at Alien 5. Okay, so now I have all of the alien data all set. Now I just deleted all of the information I had here as placeholders, and I'm gonna drag these guys over inside of here. So I'm just gonna drag them onto the screen. So there's that guy, and let's go and put him inside of the aliens little box that we have here. Now let's go and drag more in, so I need this. And then we'll drag him into position so that he looks nice. Let's zoom in here. Whoops. Let's zoom in here with our mouse and then right click and drag it into place. And then zoom in a little bit more. And then we'll line all these guys up so they look nice. So let's get that, put that like right about there, and go get myself another one and throw it inside of there, and then bring it in here and line it up so that it looks kind of nice. And let's go and get another one. We're gonna go and get 5 of these guys, put them inside. You can stack them however you want, it doesn't matter. I'm just putting them like this, and then go and get another one, and there we are. So we have all of those guys all set up inside of there, and then we can test this just to see what happens. So got that set up, let's run it. And you can see there go the aliens, and pretty soon they're going to start shooting. And there they are. They're ripping up the shields like crazy. Okay, so pretty cool. And let's go and add more aliens. And is there anything else? I might actually want them to fall further down than where they fall currently. Just, I don't know. Let's, what do I want to do? You know what? Let's throw another row of aliens inside of there. So now I'm going to get alien 3 and throw that inside of there. And that lines up pretty good. Let's drag them up here a little bit. You can refer to the top and the bottom or whatever. And get another alien 3. Throw him inside of there. And I think they look pretty neat. Get another. And there you go. I drug all of the different aliens on the screen and just dragged them from the prefabs area. This guy right here, just drug them over there and lined them up just by eye. Made one little change to my code. If we go into scripts and aliens, I got rid of this. This was giving me a little bit of a bug, and I decided I didn't even care about it anyway. So for homework, you guys can figure that out. So I got rid of that extra sound. And that's in alien.cs, if you were wondering. And now we can test out our game, see how it works, if we have any other little bugs. Here I am. Awesome. Woo! Oh, it's getting crazy now. And you can see our scores are changing, our aliens are changing. Whoa! This game is just a little crazy. And get that one. And I think everything's working pretty good. The aliens aren't really coming down super fast, so it's not really like a regular game of Space Invaders. But everything's working out pretty well. Let's go in and also get rid of the walls, like the top wall. Let's make it black. So let's change that to black. And change the bottom wall to black so that that's not distracting. So it provides for the collision, but it doesn't distract on the screen. And this guy, and then the right wall, and there that is, and there it is. Okay, so let's play it again, see what it looks like. Yeah, pretty cool. Maybe the shields are a little too big. Whoa, and you can see the spaceship exploded. Hey, let's run it again. Took some time playing and making this game, so let's play it. And whoa! Looks like a rain of missiles. You can, of course, go in there and change all those different settings. Basically, I decided that I wanted the shooting to be more, make the game harder, rather than the alien speeding down, or what have you. Oh, and I exploded. Alright, so there you go, guys. That's Space Invaders. I'm sure there might be a bug here or there, but in general, I think it looks pretty cool, and it definitely turned out about as good as I wanted it to be. You can go in there and play. If you want the aliens to move quicker, have it do that. If you want to put a delay between your missiles launching like real Space Invaders, do that. I mean, the whole idea is, you know, everything is customizable. So have fun with it and go in, maybe change the look of the aliens or change the look of anything. So just been a blast making this whole tutorial. I hope you guys had as much fun with it as I did. And please leave any, requests in regards to other games you want me to make. And like always, please leave your questions and comments below. Otherwise, till next time.